So if you clicked on this video, you obviously know what's in the bag. We'll get to that in just a second. But let's talk about something for a minute. You correct me if I'm wrong, but over the past few years, I've found that there's generally two types of Hot Wheels collectors. There's those that like the new stuff and don't like much of the old stuff. Those who like the old stuff don't like much of the new stuff. Obviously, there are some exceptions, but I think that especially for people, that are a little bit older collecting, you probably have cars from your youth, like I do, that you really like. And then I really enjoy a lot of the new castings, but the in-between I could kind of care less about. Now, I personally know people that have been collecting since they were kids and pretty much have everything they could get a hold of since then. But I think you probably know what I'm getting at. So in saying that, this bag of Hot Wheels that I got here, I was doing some work for a family member that's a neighbor a few months ago, actually. And just happened to look over and see a random bag of Hot Wheels. And, of course, they're older. And, probably from the era that I've not really collected in, that I don't know a lot about, that I'm just not super crazy about. But I'm willing to bet that even if you're into just more of the new stuff, if you're in a store and you pass by some old Hot Wheels, you're most likely at least going to stop and look and see what they have, even if you're not going to bring anything home. Because that's just what we do, right? And at the end of the day, most of us are car guys or girls. And so, we're interested to see what's there. I think a lot of it probably has to do with, and I'm just seeing something here that kind of catches my eye that I could use for an example. But, maybe it even goes back to the difference between, just being into muscle cars and JDM, because really there's obviously a lot more JDM cars out there now in the new stuff. So if you're into that, if you grew up with that, the new stuff's going to be more into it for you. Now, I'll say from my personal collection from when I was young, I do have some pretty cool old JDM stuff. So we'll probably take a look at that here in an upcoming video, some of my older cars. And so, before we get into pulling these out, I'm going to do a little blurb here about wheel swaps. So, if you're not into wheel swaps, just go ahead and skip forward in the video about a minute and we'll start going through the cars. But kind of my whole point in getting these and going through them, I know I've talked about it a lot if you've been keeping up with the recent videos, about doing wheel swaps and stuff. So, we're going to look at these cars. I have a feeling some of these are going to be a little bit too rough, really, to just do a straight-up wheel swap on without painting. So, if you find anything good in here, if it's worth restoring, worth doing a wheel swap on, I'll keep that out, and we'll do that, take a look at that in a future video. But I'm also going to be going through my old collection, seeing if there's anything in there worth restoring, wheel swapping. And I have some new cars that I'd like to do some wheel swaps on, too. Just because I enjoy that, and I'm getting where I have a little bit more time to do it now. That's why I've had these cars for months, because I wanted to do this type of video with it, and I thought, if I say I'm going to do that, I can't be waiting months before I'm actually doing something to the cars that we pick out. So, just wanted to make sure I had plenty of time to do these style of videos before I actually started on them. So, wheel swaps. If you're not familiar, basically all you're doing on a wheel swap is you're taking a mainline Hot Wheel that has these plastic wheels on it, and you're taking more like a Real Rider from like a premium or an RLC car. You're just, there's different ways to do it, but you're taking the plastic wheels off, replacing it with a two-piece wheel and tire set. That's all it is. Basically, you're just taking a good-looking mainline that you like and making it look a little bit fancier. So, like I said, several ways to do that. We'll touch on that in a different video, but I have a few of these Hot Wheels Real Rider sets left over from the RLC website that I need to use up. I also have this set from Ford Dobby, a mixed set of Real Riders from Amazon. I want to do a review on that. So you can obviously get these anywhere. A lot of people, I think, buy these off of AliExpress. So lots of different places. I even used to take some premiums, like if you get a lot of premiums, or say if you get a box set and there's a couple that you don't like. I've ended up with several of these, so I could take the wheels off this, no problem, and use this for a wheel swap if I wanted to. Or, recently I got this from Ross on clearance for $13, the Auto Straw set. If there's cars in here that, let's go ahead and zoom this out so we can see it a little bit better. There might be a car or two that I want to keep in here. I kind of like that BMW, kind of like the Alpine. But the other ones, if I'm not crazy about them, I don't want to sell them or use them for a display, I can take the wheels off of them and use them for wheel swaps. So, at that point, you're getting a set of wheels for $2, $3 a piece, which obviously isn't a bad price, especially if you're not buying in bulk, or if you were going to be buying this anyway and you just have a couple of cars that you really don't care for. Basically you're paying for the cars you want and then getting some sets of wheels out of it if that's something that interests you. So, that being said, rant on the wheel swaps over. Let's go ahead and get to looking at these cars. Going through these in random, I have not looked at these. I think just from looking in the bag, most of them look like they're actually licensed castings. All a little bit older, all, like I said, played with, a little bit rough. But let's go ahead and check these out. I am going to check the bottoms of them just to make sure I'm getting the right names. And to be honest with you, I would have thought that this, at first when I saw this, I thought this was a Mustang. But no, it's not after looking at it at all. Probably just a fantasy of 2 or 3 muscle cars put together. But this one is called Riveted. Not a bad looking casting there. Probably not something we're going to use for a wheel swap. Let's see what we have here. I remember this one, but I can't remember what it's called. Attitude. So, for some reason I was thinking that was some type of licensed casting too. Now, something like this, I know there's a little bit different fan base for cars like this, but this could be something you could do a wheel swap with. The thing about cars like this too, though, that kind of gets me sometimes on the main lines, if you'll notice, you can have a car that looks really good, but then sometimes you're going to have like this odd colored plastic. So if you do that and you want to do a wheel swap on it, what I would suggest is, if it's something that just isn't going to look right, then take a black marker or a black paint pen and just tint the windows out. Just black them out, and I think that usually 9 times out of 10 will take care of the look of the car for you. Something that I know is a licensed casting here. We have a Shelby Mustang. Let's see what the actual casting is here. Looks like a 68 Shelby GT500. Really cool looking car there. Might not be a bad candidate. Probably needs a little bit of paint, but overall not a bad looking casting. And to be honest with you, this one's just one that, I could probably set out as it is. Looks really good. We'll say, talking about wheel swaps too, that doesn't just count for, putting real riders on something. If you have cars that you really like, or if you have a kid that likes playing with their Hot Wheels and the axles get bent up, sometimes you can just replace the axles or put another set of wheels on here that's just in better shape so it'll roll well again. I know looks like probably a lot of these in here have the axles bent where they wouldn't roll really well. So you can always just do it as a repair rather than trying to make it look nice. Let's see, is this a Concept Camaro? Oh, Muscle Tone. Okay. Yep, so, man, this is kind of another amalgamation. I may end up with a lot of these in here. When I was growing up, like I said, there was a lot of muscle cars, but it kind of seems like Hot Wheels hit a period where they didn't have, well, hey, we'll talk about this here in just a second. Kind of hit a period where Hot Wheels didn't have licenses for a lot of cars, so they kind of just made like amalgamations of 2 or 3 different types of cars, especially with the JDM. Interesting find here. Very upset that this is in such bad shape. What a cool find. Still a cool find even though it's in bad shape, but let's see what this officially is. This is just called Nissan Skyline, so this I guess would be, what is this casting? R32 maybe? I think this is an R32. Skyline fans, don't kill me because I'm getting it wrong. This is the casting basically that we recently had for the Godzilla car, if I am remembering right. So really cool here. Looks like this has been mashed a little bit. So if you were to restore this, you'd probably have to pull this up and fix that a little bit. But might be worth looking into. I don't know. And this one looks like it had a 2-piece spoiler on the back too. So that was a plastic spoiler on the back instead of being cast in. Whoops. Really interesting find here. Like I said, shame that's not in better shape. That would definitely be one just to add to the collection, probably as is. But, while we're looking at it, I could probably put some real riders on this. I think I might just fill these in instead of putting a spoiler on it. The big thing is, can I fix this roof line? You know, but just paint it up and go with it like that. We'll see. That may be one we keep out to work on. That could be a definite project car, right? All right, Corvette here. Let's see which one it is. This is the Corvette Grand Sport. I believe this is a casting that we're still seeing today quite a bit. Interesting little piece on the back. I hadn't noticed that. Again, you know, this is something I would like and just add to the collection if it was in better shape. Might be something I'd be interested in fixing up, so we may keep that one out. Not a bad looking car, though, overall. A little bit of Mopar here. This is, boy, these chrome ones on the bottom I can't hardly see in the camera. This is 68 Plymouth Cuda Formula S. So I think we've had this recently too, at least in a mystery model. This is a pretty cool looking car too, and honestly, this one's not in too bad a shape. So, you know, if you wanted to, you could probably stick some wheels on this, make it a drag car. A little bit of tampo work there, you know, no problem. Here's the thing too. So, if you do have a car that's in relatively good shape and the tampos are just a little bit scratched up on it, or it has tampos that you don't like, you can take some acetone usually. I think even some people take magic marker sometimes on some of them and can put the magic marker on there, let it set, and then rub it off. So you can remove the tampos, like if you just wanted a plain orange car, or if you wanted to put some stickers or some decals on yourself. You know, you have a really good base here to work with. Volkswagen thing, is that right? Let's see. We have Volkswagen Type. What is this? Volkswagen fans, don't kill me. 181. I'm not super familiar with Volkswagens. Think they're cool, just don't know a lot about their models. This is a really cool little car. Looks like it may have had something else on the back. I don't know if it was like a cabriolet or what. Nice detail with the engine there. Honestly, this is a really good casting. You know, as far as the bag goes, this is something you could just take out if you were a Volkswagen fan. Just take it out and display it. I have a couple people I know that are Volkswagen fans, so I'll probably see if somebody just wants that one. That's, like I said, really nice as it is. I have a boat here. Ocean Research. Let's see. This is a Matchbox hovercraft. So, pretty neat there. You know, if you're into that sort of thing. This is actually in pretty good shape as well. Here's the thing about this thing, too. You know, if we have a lot of stuff in here we don't want, we can always give these away. We can resell them. Lots of options with this stuff. Really cool looking car here. A little bit beat up. But this is Chrysler 71 Dodge Demon. Wow, that did not look like a Demon to me. That's cool, though. Really nice little car there. Probably something, again, that we could fix up. This one probably would need some paint, though, after I'm looking at it a little closer. But definitely a good candidate, excuse me. What is this one? We have the Acura HSC Concept. So that's another thing I noticed. You know, like when I was in high school and a little bit later on, seems like there were a lot of concept cars being done. Not just by manufacturers, but by, you know, Hot Wheels and because, you know, Hot Wheels and Diecast companies are making the cars that are being made. So if that's what is popular, if that's what's being put in the magazines, that's what they're going to make if they can. So pretty neat little car there. Definitely interesting. And very interesting you have this livery on there, right? So you had a lot more of that, it seemed like, back in the day as well. Funny to see how things have changed over the years. I believe this is a Camaro. This is 69 Camaro. Kind of an odd livery there. Looks like it's got some kind of honeybee theme going on here. Sad thing about this one is, you know, you got an open interior here. It's a little bit rough. You might be able to clean that out. But overall, that one might need a little bit more work than something I'd be interested in doing. Corvette. What's the casting here? This does not have the casting on the bottom of it, but it is some type of Stingray Corvette for sure. Not bad. Wish that was in better shape. Another one that I would just absolutely keep like it is. 427. Kind of reminds me of a 1/18 scale Corvette that I have. I like that. Probably not something I would go to the trouble. here's the thing too. If it's to the point where you're going to have to paint it, if you like doing that sort of thing, this is perfect because you have all the excuse in the world. You're going to be peeling it off anyway. If you just want to do wheel swaps on these, I know like these cars were free, or a lot of times you can get them for 25 cents, but if you're going to have to do a whole lot of work on them, sometimes you're better off just buying the newer casting and doing it like that. Of course, that's assuming that you can find the newer casting that you want, but that is up to you. 56 Merc. This one has an opening hood. This thing's really light. I'm surprised. This thing looks pretty new. I'm surprised there's one this new with opening hood. That's cool. And this one's actually in pretty good shape. Another one that I'd probably just leave as is. Now, this one might be a good candidate for wheel swaps. If you're into this type of car, maybe put some dishes on this or something. So I might keep that one out too. Not a bad candidate. Separate these out while I'm thinking of it. See another Acura here. This looks like an NSX. Yep, Acura NSX. Definitely, you know, I don't think I've ever had one of these, but I used to hear people talking about how these were a little bit, the proportions seemed a little bit off. And they kind of do. I think a lot of it's to do with this here, though. I think if you just had the car, put some smaller, the wheels probably a little bit off too, but some smaller wheels on here, I think it wouldn't look as off. But pretty cool little casting here. Probably a little bit rough for what I'd want to work with, but definitely something you could use. Another Mustang here. This is, you know, I'll be honest with you, I think it's just because it's been played with so much. I thought this was like a Maisto or something there for a minute. It feels so light. 07 Shelby GT 500. Not a bad car there. We get enough of these kind of in the new ones. This probably isn't something I'd mess with either, but definitely cool to look at. Try to move through these just a little bit quicker. 70 Pontiac GTO. Seems like I have somebody that's a 70 fan, maybe a little bit different year, but I know it wasn't like the 68s. So let me see if somebody wants that. Actually, this casting is in, well, pretty good shape, right? So, you know, if that's something you wanted to, you could definitely use that one, but another one you could use as is. So I'm starting to see a theme here. I probably should have just kept out the ones that I could use like they are. Interesting here. I'll be honest with you, if this was in better shape, I'd probably be interested in doing a wheel swap on this. Super tuned. Pretty cool DC Police logo. I don't know, I just like the fact that it's a truck. You know, a lot of times the tuned stuff I don't care for. This one looked like it was actually something I would enjoy though. Camaro convertible concept. So here another concept car. And you can see this one pretty much, you know, looks like the Camaros we have now, so it wouldn't be that far off. This one's in really good shape. Definitely something you can keep out as well. What is this? This is the Lamborghini Aventador, and I thought most of these cars were pretty old. Maybe this is some stuff that got collected like before this kid quit collecting. I thought this was a little bit older casting than that. 2013, or newer, I'm sorry. 2013, so it's been around for a little while, and this one's actually in really good shape. Not one of my favorite castings ever, but hey, another one that we could use as it is, so we'll take it. Corvette here, what is this? Corvette C6R. Some interesting livery here. A car that I would normally be okay with. You can definitely tell on cars like this the difference in you know, castings from a few years back to the ones we have now. Seems like there's a lot more detail on the body sculpt on the newer ones, but this was really good for back in the day. Don't really care for this yellow glass, but again, you could always black that out if you wanted to. If you were a C6R fan, you could definitely do something with this, though, for sure. Let's see. 07 Shelby GT 500. I think we had another one of those a minute ago. This one looks a little bit better. Not super crazy about the livery on it, but pretty usable. Pretty usable. Definitely. And the sad thing is on this one, again, another one that I probably would have kept as is if it had been in better shape. But that's okay. When I say that, I'm not mad about it. It's just, you know, it is what it is. Have some of these four-wheelers here. These are, I think, actually Hot Wheels. Yep. And these are, yeah, I thought I remember that. These came in some McDonald's Happy Meals a while back. I can't remember what these are called, but as far as that goes, some pretty cool looking little four-wheelers. You can see here's an example of where one has some bent wheels that you could fix if you needed to. You would think you could grab these with like a wrench and just bend them, but sometimes that's not as easy to do as you would think. If you can, great. If not, clip them, put a new axle on it, and go on. Hot Wheels, what is this? Pax Peak Celica, really cool. I did not recognize that casting, and I've seen that before. So maybe, this one would need a little bit of work, but might be worth it just because of what it is. Pikes Peak Celica, really a lot of history there. Really cool casting. Looked like it had some killer 3-spoke wheels on it at one time. So I'm going to keep that one out just to see what I can do with it. This looks like a Misto, so probably not going to do anything with that. But again, I've talked about wheel swapping some Adventures Force stuff lately, and probably will. So you could, if the paint was a little bit better on this, pop some wheels on there. Hey, nice looking car, right? And that's the good thing about, I think Misto does a lot of exotic stuff. In good shape here. Obviously not anything that I'm really super interested in. Retroactive. Just kind of a nice track car. DeLorean, yeah. Wow, really nice DeLorean, actually. So, would probably just keep this one like it is. But, man, look at that. That's fantastic. Super happy to pick that up. Corvette. What are we calling this one? This one is... I can't see it. And actually, I don't think it... Oh, here, just Corvette Stingray is all it is. Older. Here, really nice casting here as well. Not really a lot of paint scraped off of that. Probably something I'm going to leave just like it is. But, man, I like that. Look at that paint. Nice. Definitely coming into some of the nicer stuff as we go through. What is this? Toyota Supra. Well, like a tuned Toyota Supra. Wow. So, honestly, not something I'm super just thrilled about, but a lot of you would probably be excited to get this, and there's a random bag. So, maybe we can, maybe I can do something with that and do a giveaway. That might be cool to do a custom with or something. We'll look into that, right? Let's see. We have the 74 Dodge Charger. Is that right? 74? Yeah, wow. Another decent looking casting here. Pretty good shape. So overall, not bad. Coming down to the last, well, I'll say the last few. Nope. That's the gift that keeps on giving. Let's see. Is this a concept? 40 something. Yeah, so I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Pretty cool looking little car, though. '66 Pontiac GTO. Had to look at the headlights to make sure I was saying that right. Got a little paint spot there, unfortunate. Wait, maybe I can peel that off. I can probably clean that off. That's not a spot in the paint. That's something actually on the car, like a dab of paint or some tar or something. Otherwise, this car actually looks pretty good, so definitely could use that. Ferrari. Is this a Hot Wheels Ferrari? Oh, Ferrari F12. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. If you know it, you know it. Not a bad looking casting here either. If you don't know, Hot Wheels lost the license to make Ferraris years ago. That's why you don't really see them anymore. At one time, all the Ferraris seemed like they were kind of hard to get a hold of and drew a premium. Now, it's kind of only certain ones, with the cost of everything. I think most people that are into Ferraris have probably already gotten them. And a lot of them were the cars that there were just a lot of them made, so they weren't super hard to get a hold of when they were made, for the most part. Porsche GTR 3 or GT3 right here. Let's see, 2010. I didn't realize this one had been around this long either. Porsche 911 GT3 RS. Really good shape here. And man, to be honest with you, I almost like this. It's probably the exact same casting. Maybe it's the color here. But I feel like I like this one more than the new one. The new one just kind of feels a little bit cheap. Triumph, maybe? Yep, Triumph TR6. Car that I'm a semi-fan of. I think it's got a cool little history. This one, I like the paint on this. I think the paint very much fits this car. I like it. Pretty good shape. Definitely would leave this just like it is. even with the little scrapes on it. It's a race car. Rubbin's Racing, right? See, have this old limousine. I can't remember what this one's called. Sentinel 400 Limo. Definitely a concept car. Pretty cool. What was the movie? Logan, where he drives the limousine. You know, maybe you could paint this thing black and pretend it was something like that. Not a bad little car. Definitely would need to do something with it. It's in kind of rough shape. May put what I don't keep out of these. I may put them in a mystery box and auction them off on eBay or something like that. Chevy Camaro concept again. I think this is the one we had earlier. Definitely, I mean, just looks like a Camaro, right? Not very far off from what we actually got at all. So you could definitely use these as a newer model Camaro. Ferrari, but this time it is, well, I don't know what it is. Cannot see, but I don't think it's Maisto. It says China on here. So, honestly, the body doesn't look that bad. So you could, you know, if you really wanted to, you could clean this up, paint it, put some wheels on it. I don't think I'd go to the trouble for it, but hey, you do you. Porsche Carrera GT. Not a bad looking car here. Paint's a little bit bummy on this one. If it wasn't, I'd probably keep it like it is. That's not too bad, just a few scratches here and there. But overall, this is actually a pretty good car. And if you're a Porsche fan, I think this would definitely, if it didn't have just these few spots, would be an excellent candidate for a wheel swap. I think I've got another car from Leno's garage set that would be perfect wheel size for this. Getting down to the last few here. We have 69 Chevelle SS 396. What year did I say that was? 69, yep. So this one, I believe this one got ran over with a Hot Wheels monster truck. What do you think? Definitely have a little bit of roof cave in there. So you could use it for stuff like that too. And here's the thing, if you make dioramas, you can use stuff like this all day long, especially if you, you know, aren't just stuck to one thing. You can use that for monster truck or for, you know, car wreck, scene, you know, lots of different things. Last one here is not even a Hot Wheels, but it's actually a really good looking casting. So this is a Maisto Porsche 911 Turbo. Man, I love the color on that. Looks like the glasses kind of fell out, but you know, this is one even that I would consider doing a wheel swap on. Actually, ooh, if I could fix this up and get that glass back in there, I'd probably just leave it like it is. This is a really nice looking Maisto casting. So kudos to Maisto for that. Okay, so what we ended up with are 16 cars here that, for all intents and purposes, I wouldn't have a problem with putting them on my display shelf right now. Look really good. Maybe a little bit of scuff here and there, but for the most part, these cars are pretty cherry and all really nice cars. I will say the honorable mentions and the ones that might get a little bit of love are this Pikes Peak Celica. Not sure what I would do with that, but just because of the history of the car and what it is, definitely going to be looking into that. Have this tuned Toyota Supra. Really cool pickup there. Lots of potential. And we have this Nissan Skyline. So, 3 cars that I might do a little bit of custom work to. 16 cars that I can use as is. And about another dozen cars that I could do something with if I wanted to. And, you know, at the end of the day, they're Hot Wheels, they're toys. I could give them all away and make some kids really happy. So, we'll see. Lots of potential here. Really cool find. Was happy to get these. So let me know, have you came across any just random Hot Wheels finds like this? What's the best thing that you've ever found, like yard sale, somebody gave to you, just in an attic? Let me know. Be interested to hear your stories. Appreciate y'all watching this video. If you like it, be sure to check out this other one that YouTube thinks you'll like up here. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Happy hunting, y'all.